What's up, VK family? It's your boy Vital, and we appreciate you for joining us on another video on Vital's YouTube channel, like we always do with Mr. I's Productions behind the camera. Now, you might be noticing right now, we are not in the Vital Kick sneaker room, all crammed in with the lights and whatnot. We're actually in a different space. And if you've been watching our vlogs, the past 3 vlogs that we dropped, you know exactly where we're at, all right? So take a little walk with me. Welcome to the newest luxury shoewear consignment shop in Chinatown, Chicago, Vital Chinatown, all right? Now, if you've been watching our vlogs again, you know how we got here, but this video isn't going to be about Vital Chinatown. I just wanted to show you guys we're in a new space where we'll start shooting sneaker reviews. So wait on the next vlog if you want to see the grand opening and how everything went, okay? But you guys know by the video title what we're here for today, and that is going to be the upcoming Jordan Union ones that are set to release on August of this year. Super clean details, definitely a lot to go over, so I think this is going to be a real hot video. So let us know throughout the video in the comments below whether you thought these are a must cop or I can skip on them, because they're definitely controversial in the community, right? But that being said, Mr. I's Productions, roll that new intro, baby. Man, that was a cool new intro, right? We were definitely looking forward to putting that together. Actually, those were scenes from our private opening on June 16th and our grand opening weekend on June 17th and June 18th, which was super successful, lots of fun, and just really cool to work with the team rather than myself. You guys, if you've been following me long enough, know that I've been doing pop-ups around Chicago, and it's always been solo dolo, right? Maybe a friend or two to help me out. But really building a team and running this space with that team felt really good and took it to a whole nother level. So once again, definitely look forward to vlog number 4 as it relates to Vital Chinatown, which hopefully we get to drop in the next 2 weeks, okay? But if you enjoyed that, drop it in the comments below. Hey, that was so much better than the last intro, or maybe you feel otherwise, right? We love your input. That being said, let's dive right into our review because we've kept you waiting long enough. Starting off with the box like we always do, I'm immediately seeing that we're not getting our regular black and red with the Nike Check Jordan 1 box, which is great, right? As we always talk about, when Jordan Brand goes the extra mile of giving us the extra boxes and accessories, I mean, that says a lot. We're paying that premium price anyways, right? So anything extra they give is awesome. And specifically with Union collaborations, what they're known for is those extra accessories, boxes, and quality. We'll get there when we see the kicks, right? And they definitely didn't skimp on this release either. As you guys can see, straight off the bat, it says summer of '96 on the front of the box. I did some Google research, to be honest with you guys. I'm not entirely sure what that means. I searched up Union summer '96, and apparently in the summer of 1996 there was something called Union Day. I believe it had to do with more so the labor force rather than the brand, but if you know anything about that, definitely educate me and the community in the comments, right? As we open up the box, you're also going to see that same homage to '96 with the Union and the Jumpman logo, which I think is really cool. Chris Gibbs is the designer, or excuse me, is the owner of Union, so you're going to see different hits along the box along with the sneaker that pays homage to him and his wife. But we'll dive into that history in a little bit. To wrap up the box, looking all around, I'm seeing a different label here for Benfi's Beauty Supply. So this is a collaboration with them as well, which is also going to be this lady on the box, right? And looking all around, I'm seeing some more basketball hoops and also some project buildings. I don't know too much about the different images on here, but definitely if you know about the history and this collaboration, put that into the comments, right? Let's really interact as a community. But I really just want to show you guys we are getting something super high quality, super attractive, and when I stack it up on top of all my other Jordan boxes, this is definitely going to stick out. Lastly, I'll pull out the wax paper because usually we don't get some fancy smancy stuff like this. We get a really cool Jordan, Air Jordan Union wax paper here with project buildings on them. To me, they look like New York, but I also know the brand is from LA. So let me know if you know this is New York or LA, but growing up, this is exactly how project buildings looked, all right? So let's dive right into the kicks because just seeing how much love they put into the box, you already know they went off on these sneakers. Let's get it. Audio Jungle. So here they are, the Jordan Union ones that are set to release in August of this year in the summer season. And looking at that time frame, it definitely is giving me lots of summer vibes and also some fall vibes as you look at the different tones and colors that exist on it. But that being said, this is definitely a very controversial pair. So again, I'm just gonna say, as we dive into the details and start at the bottom and move our way down, let us know what really throws you off about the sneaker or what really sticks out and it's like, yep, I need that in my collection. Because even before we give you Vital's rating at the very end, I'm gonna just let you know right now, I'm definitely gonna need these in my collection. I own the first two original Union ones. I wore them a few times and I really loved them. And I ended up selling them just because the resale got really crazy at that time. And at that point in my business, it kind of made sense. But now I regret it, right? I'm like, man, I still wish I had those in my collection. So these coming back around and having such unique touches is definitely a cop for me, all right? But wait on that rating till the end, and let's see what Mr. IH Production feels about it too, okay? But that being said, let's start at the top with the sock liner. Looking at the sock liner, we're not getting anything too unique outside of our Jordan 1s. We're still getting that regular mesh, but this time in a gray. I will say that as I feel it, it feels a little tighter or not as loosey-goosey as other ones. And we know that historically speaking, any Jordan collaborations, they just kind of elevate the materials a little bit. So I think maybe it's a little bit higher quality, but it is the same material. And if we dive down right into that insole, majority of it is going to be in this mintish green, maybe a turquoise color with a Nike Air in white labeled on there. And that color of the insole actually matches some other details, and you'll see that when we get there. Moving our way down, the first thing you're gonna see is this gray suede hit right around the ankle. And I just wanna say straight off the bat, this is so plush. This is probably the nicest suede that I felt on any Jordans in, I can't remember, you know, for the past 3-4 years, but definitely in the past year, this is just buttery smooth. And I'm not seeing any motion, so it's a short-haired suede, but the quality is definitely there. It feels very luxury, you know, just like this store. Continuing to move down that same line, you're gonna start to see the white panels of leather, which majority of this uppers is going to have. You're gonna have a very tumbled white and plush leather, high quality, so you know they put lots of love into it, just like that suede around your ankle. On this white leather panel, still around your ankle, you're gonna see a much larger Air Jordan sign than your regular Jordan 1s. As a matter of fact, just to give you a little bit of reference, let me find this pair right here. Okay, we got the Sage Haze Jordan 1s, and they're wrapped up because you know we gotta keep our product pristine for our clients. But just take a moment to compare those Jordan logo signs. I know you're a little far right now, but I'm sure Mr. IH Productions will get some B-roll. This on the Union is significantly bigger than your average Jordan 1s. And I just think that's really cool because this inherently is a loud sneaker in terms of the different details that they put on it with the stitching, and you'll see when we get there. But by making this bigger, it just continues to emphasize what should really pop out on the sneaker, and that's the Jordan brand. As we continue to move our way down, just like any other Jordan 1, here we're gonna see that Union and LA tag in a yellow this time, that this continues to be a unique thing that they put on Jordan 1s. This is directly below that larger embossed wing logo, so again, it really is eye-catching. Packed right underneath that, we begin to see why Union really has a reputation for quality and detail, because right in this same small area, there's so many unique touches, such as this mint green stitch going across and around the whole sneaker, back heel tab, and then onto the other side, right? And that's really the only hit of color outside of these neutral tones, maybe some yellows, but that stitching also matches the insole color that we went over earlier. But that being said, because it's the only color on the outside of the sneaker, it really pops. And it gives you the option like, hey, if I'm wearing something mint green, I have the perfect kicks to go with it. But if mint green isn't part of the fit, it's hardly noticeable and the rest of this sneaker will pop. This is a very versatile sneaker just because of this stitching right here. But again, focusing right there, I think it just lets you know Union goes crazy and really pays attention to every single centimeter of a sneaker that they're working on. While we're on the topic of this mint green stitching, which we've seen on previous pairs of Union 1s, this one actually results in a different detail that other Union 1s haven't had just because this is a triple collaboration. As we saw in the box, this was actually a collaboration with Bethany's Beauty Supply, which is Chris Gibbs, the owner of Union LA's wife's brand, all right? So as we follow this stitching to the back heel tab, you'll notice on this square, actually on both sneakers, that it's going to say BBS, standing for Beffy's Beauty Supply. And I think that's a really cool detail. Even if you don't know too much about that business, like I don't, I think that's what makes it stick out from any other sneaker, but also its previous predecessors of other colorways of Union 1s. So I really like that detail, and I think the rest of the community will as well. Continue to move our way down, you'll immediately see that this swoosh is a solid gray. It just really pops out from the rest of the sneaker, right? Although we did see some other hits of gray, such as on the Wings logo and that above the around your ankle, this gray seems to be a little bit more solid. And when you're contrasting with the rest of the sneaker, I think that's really dope. It just pops out, right? I will mention that this is suede, and when I feel it, it feels quite similar to the suede up here. So again, very high quality. What I love about this swoosh, and not something that you can exactly see unless you're at certain angles, is the sides of it. And actually, many of the leather panels, when you look at the sides of it, are gonna hold yellow details rather than no color. And this is true around the toe box as well, where we're seeing that yellow, the eyelids that hold the laces, around the swoosh, of course, and then all the tabs. Basically, everywhere that there's exposed siding of any panel, you're gonna see that yellow, which I think is a really cool hidden detail. One, it matches this Union LA tag, right? But depending on the angle that you're at, it just really gives it a different contrast. Again, compared to the other Jordan 1s that have no color on there or just keep it black. So I really like that touch. Okay, we're still continuing to make our way down the uppers just because there is so much to cover, but as soon as we hit on these last few details, the rest will wrap up pretty cleanly, right? So one of the most controversial details that I saved for last, at least in its uppers to talk about, is going to be this very interesting stitching that goes around the whole entire sneaker. It's definitely a different material. It's like, I want to say like hemp. It feels like a hemp bag, you know, where they used to hold all that hay or those farmer bags where they might have sand in them or whatnot. That's the material it feels like. It's definitely not leather. If you know what type of material it is, put it there. But it reminds me a lot of a baseball. I'm not entirely sure if that's what they were going for, but the pattern just looks like that of a stitching on a baseball, right? But nonetheless, that is the most controversial detail. You have half of the community going, what in the world is that? They have ruined a Jordan 1, right? And then the other half is like, holy cow, that is so unique. It's about time that Union 1 gets, Jordan 1s get something new and refreshing. And I'm more so on that side. I think that this detail in itself makes this look so unique. And though it is a Jordan 1, getting those classic tones that we will never get tired of, I think it brings a new flavor to the eye that we seldom get when it comes to new retros, right? So I think Jordan went super off on this. Union did as well. And just some history on its predecessors. Again, the first two Jordan 1s that are Unions, they were kind of like more Frankenstein styled, right? I think Chris Gibbs actually talked about that. How can I cut and sew different things and kind of give that like rustic Frankenstein feel, right? And I think they definitely put that into this sneaker and continue to do that on a whole nother level, okay? But that being said, that detail in itself is one of the most controversial. You guys already know my opinion on it, so please let us know. Like, yo, that stitching is super weird. I don't need it, right? Let us know. But I think it's always different when you see it in hand too. So definitely update if you get a pair earlier or sooner than later. All right, so let's wrap up these uppers and the last few details so that we can give you our rating on the Union 1s that are set to release soon enough. The last detail to go over on its uppers is going to be its tongue. Immediately looking at the tongue, I'm seeing a beigeish, maybe tan off-white tongue, which actually contrasts the rest of the white leather. Though the rest of the leather isn't like a pure white, it's kind of like an aged white. This is definitely even more aged, right? And you can see that contrast. What I like about this tongue is going to be that it has that exposed foam that continues to add on to those yellow touches like we talked about on its trimming. At the top of the tongue is going to be your Nike Air gray stitched in tag that contrasts along with that gray swoosh. So I think they're being very conservative where they have grays, but where they are putting it, it creates just enough flavor and difference to really make things pop. On the tongue, we're also continuing to see that green stitching that isn't going to be too visible if you have everything laced up. But again, I just think that's a really cool detail that Union rarely neglects. Finally, the pair comes laced up in more of an aged white lace, but as the previous predecessors had as well, somewhere along the way, going up the laces, it cuts into a gray again. So they're continuing to use those same colorways to not make it too colorful or different, but calm, but still popping, right? And let me just say too, that this came out of the sneaker. On top of these off-white / gray laces, it also comes with an extra pair of solid yellow laces, which again, really matches all those trimmings around, which is what they were going for. Really cool. Okay, let's make our way down to the midsole and wrap up with the outsole. I think though they are simplistic and not in many details, there are some unique touches that we can talk about. When we're looking at the midsole all around, you'll immediately notice that again, it is not in a white, but it is going to be in that aged white or more of a beige. And I think they did that intentionally to match this new detail on this pair of Union Jordan 1s. They go kind of hand in hand in terms of that tone of the off-whitish or beigeish. What isn't immediately noticeable, especially if you're looking from the side, is that the outsole is actually a slightly different color. And again, details, Union went off. They could have just made that exact same shade, but they chose to have a little bit of contrast from the midsole to the bottom. As you can see, the bottom is a little bit more tan, a little bit more yellow, a little bit more aged than its midsole. And when you have that detail and you compare it to the rest of the sneaker, it just makes it so cohesive because they're continuing to use these different tones, but putting them in color blockings in ways that make this sneaker really attractive, at least in my opinion. Man, that was a lot of details to go over on these bad boys. I think it's been a while since we've had to review a sneaker with that many different new features. You guys already know when it comes to Jordan Brand, really it's just different color blockings, different materials, right? Trying to mix things up in terms of the eye, but really using the same sneaker. I think this sneaker sticks out in that it's not using a lot of the same things. The materials are different, the color blockings are different, even the new additions to the original silhouette are different. So that's really encouraging, and it was exciting to review this, but again guys, it means nothing if we don't get your interaction, okay? So if you guys are really feeling this pair, if you guys love the box or the extra accessories that it comes with, whatever it may be, drop that in the comments below, okay? Because your interaction is what matters the most. But that being said, if you've been watching our early reviews long enough, you know how we end these. I already said I'm gonna cop them, but now it's time for Vital's rating. And it's been a while, you know, because we've been a little caught up with our grand opening. So we just to do a quick reminder, 10 is going to be our best, right? Like 10, we need that. I need it early, I need it right now. And 1 being like, I absolutely could care less about these, right? So on a scale of 1 to 10 for the Jordan Union 1s that are set to release in August, for me, the Vital's rating is going to be a 9. This is gonna be a 9. This is gonna be a really strong 9 for me. You guys already know I'm a sucker when it comes to extra accessories, which they gave these super cool, unique laces already with the split. But also now we're getting a second pair with the solid yellow. We get a really cool box that is based on history, based on collaboration, showing love to different entities such as his wife and their business, and then also just the different details on this. I mean, come on guys, like I said, we spent so much time talking about what's new, what contrast, how it comes together to be aesthetically pleasing to the eye, and I was saying all of that purely from my opinion, right? And lastly, this back tab here I think is just such a cool way to make this unique on top of everything we already talked about. So 9 is super high. Again, it's a very controversial sneaker, so hopefully you guys don't cancel me for saying that, but I think these are a must cop and they definitely need to be in my collection because I'm thinking about, man, there's so many cool fits that I could put with this, whether it's gray, tans, browns, greens, whatever it may be, okay? But that being said, you guys already know this is a partnered channel. Mr. IH Productions behind the camera. I'm gonna need your rating as well. The Union 1s, what are you feeling? 1 to 10.
Might come to a surprise.
Okay.
9.1.
A what?
9.1.
A 9.1? Yeah. Guys, if you've been watching our early reviews, me and Mr. IH Productions almost fist fight at the end of every one of these videos because every time I give a high rating, he gives a low one. And every time I give a low rating, he also gives a low one. He really doesn't like many of the kicks that we review on this channel, but I guess for once we finally agree that this is on the higher end. So this is encouraging. I feel like you guys might feel the same way, or maybe not, and you completely disagree with us, right? But me and Mr. IH Productions have very different styles. Sometimes we have similar things in terms of like wanting to wear solid colors, but other than that, I would say day to day we have very different styles. So to see that 2 gentlemen in the room rate this high enough, I really think this is a versatile style sneaker, and the more creative you can get with it, the crazier the fits will get, okay? That being said, guys, you know our ratings. Make sure you put yours down below, and shoot us a follow, shoot us a like, hit that notification bell if you really enjoyed this review, because trust, now that the grand opening and everything is out the way, we'll be doing this a lot more and a lot more consistency. As a matter of fact, next up, oh, hello. We got the Palomino ones that are set to release in September, I believe, and then also we'll be reviewing the Bread Toe Lows that are set to release next month. All right, so we're back on it, guys. So make sure you stay up to date with us. That being said, we appreciate you guys, and we'll catch you in the next video, VK family.